Good morning, this is Pete Anzalone and welcome to the May PubWorks webinar. Today we'll cover 5 topics that I think will help you get even more out of PubWorks Fleet. Our next topic today is fleet work orders as invoices. We have a Florida customer that services fire equipment and apparatus for a number of neighboring towns. Tracking whether or not work was paid for is very important to them. Our design idea was simple. Treat the fleet work order as an invoice. The work order number is the invoice number. So we added a checkbox and date field to track payment status and payment date. We added some filtering capabilities for invoices to the fleet work order status screen, and we added 3 reports to our fleet maintenance report group. Let's take a look at this. First, fleet work orders. Click the fleet menu, then down to fleet work orders. Click the Edit button on the button bar. This makes the paid and paid date fields very easy to see. Turning the paid checkbox on indicates that the work order invoice has been paid. When that is set, the paid date will be auto-populated with the current computer date. That date, of course, can be changed to whatever value you wish. So you've marked invoices as paid, but how do you keep track of these when you might have dozens or even hundreds of such invoices? Fleet work order status can help. Let's close this fleet work order screen and open fleet work order status. Click fleet, then down to fleet work order status. Here you'll find a new set of radio buttons to help manage paid status at the bottom of the screen. To see how this works, let's imagine we service vehicles for our sheriff's department and we invoice them for such services. Let's look at all the sheriff's department work orders. First, select Sheriff from the department filter. Then on the left-hand side, in the status group, select All. Here we can see that for the sheriff's department, we have 80 fleet work orders. From these 80 work orders, let's see which are complete but have not yet been paid. So on the left-hand side, select Completed, and down here towards the right, click on Unpaid. Here we find 12 fleet work orders, totaling $2,936. Now let's look at the reports that complement this invoicing capability. First, let's close this screen. Click Reports, down to Fleet Reports, out to the right to Fleet Maintenance Reports. Here, right in the center of the screen, we have 3 new report choices for invoicing: Invoice Detail, Invoice Listing, and Invoice Summary. Let's run these reports, starting with Invoice Summary. Click Invoice Summary. Notice that the paid status radio buttons appear. Let's group our report by equipment type. And let's filter the report by the Sheriff's Department. One last setting, let's look at unpaid invoices only. And now click the OK button to view the report. So here's the invoice summary report, filtered by the Sheriff's Department. You can see the Sheriff has cars, pickups, total of 12 invoices, summing to $2,936. For our next report, let's drill down a level. Close the print preview screen, and let's look at the invoice listing. After selecting Invoice Listing, click the OK button at the bottom of the screen to preview the report. The invoice listing shows an invoice-by-invoice summary for each of the 12 unpaid invoices. Remember, the invoice number is the fleet work order number. This is key when you need to find the invoice/fleet work order and mark it paid. Drilling down further, let's look at the Invoice Detail report. Select Invoice Detail. But let's focus on a single vehicle for this report. So let's look at Unit 1896. Key 1896 into the Equipment Code Drop List and click OK. Here we see all the parts and labor details for invoice number 12,358, including PM items serviced and notes. There's even remittance information at the very bottom of the report. That wraps up our second fleet maintenance topic for today. Our next topic is fuel and odometer log reports.